Okay, so first thing they need to do is organize comics. And, well, I mean, when I'm organizing, it's organizing the X universe, X/Mutants universe. So as I'm doing that, I'm basically going through each box that I have, determine whether or not it's organized or not organized. Some of them are, some of them aren't. I have a lot of like, oh, I got groups of stuff and then things got shuffled around a lot. There's a lot of moves, things like that. As a result, my comic collection is a mess. So first I have to organize it, and then I can finally go through and get rid of everything. So and then what happens is with the X universe, I'm just going to call it the X universe, there are so many different spin-offs and everything like that it's just needlessly complicated. So I have to kind of go through. So I'm going to give an example for right now. So bear with me here. Okay, I'm going to have to, yeah. So this by no means is at all my collection. This is just like a little short box. One of these. Just a little baby box. Because I was trying to break them down into like little baby boxes so that I could easily take them off the shelves and organize them according to like comic runs, crossovers, that sort of thing. But this is just one quick example. So we have Weapon X, and we're not even going to get into the fact that this is Marvel Comics Presents Weapon X, which is also different from the Weapon X series. So that, and even then there were certain parts of the Weapon X series I was like lukewarm on. So I'm going to have to double check, reread them, go over that with you guys, and see how I'm feeling about them. There is Warlock. This is an example of a whole bunch of like one-shot mini-series that happened. Like there was a Kitty Pryde and Wolverine series. There was like so many different like spin-offs, like just like, or like one-shots where they had like little mini-series of each of the characters. And then we have New Mutants, which went on to become X-Force. And then Runaway, spun off from Runaway. There's just so many. Like, I can't really go through. But this was the original iteration of New Mutants, which was like the mini X-Men. So, yeah. These are examples of how I have to break up these first and then go from there and organize them according to that. So, first stage, find all of one comic and put them in a box. And then I'll worry about crossovers later. So here goes. One unfortunate drawback to emptying out a comic book box is if you have a cat. Because if you have a cat in a comic book box, if it fits, it sits, apparently. And for whatever reason, they love comic book boxes. So here we are. Yeah. Excuse me now while I remove said cat. Not satisfied with simply the uncanny X-Men, eventually there also came X-Men, just plain X-Men. And so now I have to go through and try and discover, sort through X-Men versus Uncanny X-Men. And there's like a bunch of other, I think there's other versions of, and then there's X-Man, which is its own spin-off Days of Future Past thing. So I'm just going to make it simple. I'm going to make it very simple first. First things first will be will be me just getting the X-Men and variations of that. I will, however, try and separate out the Days of Future Past section, because that is really its own spin-off series. So I'm going to try and keep all those together because I really like that series. I had it introduced to me and was given the comics. So yeah. Alrighty. Okay, so basically what's happening is I'm basically clearing out boxes. And then I'm trying to sort as best as one can. Like, this is the insanity that is the Mutant Universe for Marvel. This also is possibly my descent into insanity. But as best I can do it, I'm going to get all of the X-Men, Uncanny, and like just ones that have like X-Men, X-Man will be a separate thing, like I was saying. I'm gonna try and get all the tie-ins that go with that, so they all go together in one nice neat package. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, I forgot what I was dealing with when I set forth on this. There's a reason why my comics have been unorganized since, like, from a while ago. This is why. This is that reason why. So I'm going through, and it's not even the last box. I'm just going through these 3 boxes for now. And then I have to go through all the rest of the boxes to try and make sure there's no other random X books hiding somewhere. Get them all together. Sort. And then, yeah, it's going to take so long. But this is the first swathing. The first swathing is just trying to get all of the X books together. And then I'm just going to sort them numerically. And then I can go from there. Yeah. This is my life now. Okay. I'll talk to you in a bit. I have 3 short boxes cleared. And sort of sorted. Kind of, sort of sorted. It's the beginnings, and then I still will have, I found that series I was talking about. I think I have it all through. I may have to like go through it and double check and make sure that that's all there. I may actually have to do some internet sleuthing in order to try and make sure that the whole entire collection's there. It was a brutal series, but I really, really liked it. The name of it is a mystery series. It's not that. I'm trying to remember the name of it. I want to call it the Days of Future Past, but there are so many versions of it that it's really hard to say, but it takes place in the world of Days of Future Past, which there's all kinds of like seeds that were like, well, retroactive seeds that were created for it. And it takes like, there's like an original one where it takes place like way early on in like Uncanny X-Men, like 100, and I do mean like 100 and something. I know that 188 has part of it, but it's even before that. So my timelines are a little, it's been a while. I'm just trying to get back into like getting my collection under control so that I can actually enjoy them again. And that means getting rid of a bunch of stuff that I don't read. So here we go. Yeah, I have to try and I'm running out of space in my little tiny office, so I'm gonna have to start packing things back up. They aren't even organized. It's just like for like the first swath of organized, quote unquote organizing, wherein I have X-Men together. I have a New Mutant pile, and I have the special. I also have X-Men Classic, which is basically the reprints, which I really enjoyed. And they also, at the beginning of the X-Men Classics, they had all these backup stories as well, so they're really interesting. I really liked them a lot. And I have to get all of that and figure out how I'm going to put everything else together. For now, I need to reconvene everything. I need to at least put all my X-Men in a box before I pull out anything else. However, I have a long box worth of X-Men. I mean, I have more than that, obviously, because I'm still trying to find all the X-Men. But I have a long box worth that I need to put into some short boxes. There's gonna be a lot of organizing that happens here. So much fun. Well, what'll be fun is when I actually start like pulling apart everything and having to go through it to like figure out which comics I'm actually like giving away to my son and which ones I'm keeping. We'll see. Okay. Okay, so here we have the long box. Yeah, and bear with my shaky cam here, but this box also all X comics from the Mutant Universe. And this is the box I'm pretty much afraid of. Like the other ones I kind of were okay. I still have to sort through those ones. This one is the behemoth. There is all different kinds of stuff. However, I know that this little section right here is all X-Men Classics. I can tell because I bought them all at the same time. Well, I rebought them at the same time. It's a long story. As with anybody, I've had collections. I've had collections lost, and then I've had to recover them. So that I've had comics gifted to me, like whole entire comic collections gifted that I've had to integrate. So I'm not even sure of all the comics I do have. Luckily, I do have a fantastic categorizing system. Many people, if you are comic collectors, you might know it. It's CLZ, or in Canada, CLZ. And yeah, I'm gonna be using that once I get this like category organized. I have to still go through it all because these aren't all like, this is in the middle of a section. I think before this is not, it's not classic X-Men. So I have to go through here, sort out, and reorganize. At that point, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be putting all of my Uncanny X-Men in this box for now. I still want to break them down into smaller boxes, but I have to save up to get those plastic boxes because while I do have the nice, these nice fabric ones, they aren't really that nice though. That's the problem. They're really cheap, and I have cats, and I can show you something that'll make your heart hurt later. But they aren't as sturdy as the plastic boxes. I really like the plastic boxes, and I want to go with those. But they're just really expensive. And expensive in this case means better quality. And sturdy, more durable, all of that. So without further ado, I'm going to start digging in. Okay, that did not take as long as I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to be way more fractured. This one was not. It had a crap ton of Wolverine. And here's where some of the problems come in, because we have a whole bunch of series that have this, like the Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine. However, the Marvel Comics Presents wasn't limited to Wolverine. There's a bunch of other, it's Marvel Comics Presents for a reason, and it featured other characters as well. But there was this big, long stretch of Wolverine. I guess because they couldn't figure out enough to give him his own specific comic. So there's also Marvel Comics presents Ghost Rider, and I think I have to double check and make sure that none of these actually have any crossovers. So I don't even know where to categorize that aside from its own section, which exactly this is where some of the problems come in, because some of them cross over into other series that aren't even in the Mutant Universe. That's fine. I'm gonna have to figure out how to sort through that later. Needless to say, this is a bit of a mess still. Did not yeah, so I'm putting everything back in the box. Oh yeah, and also how could I forget X Factor? That originally started out as like the original original team of X-Men getting together, and it could have been a really good series. I always felt it was like the B list of all the X-Men series. It got cooler later, I know, but it just wasn't really, I mean, it just didn't have the storytelling that X-Men did for some reason. But neither here nor there, and I'm going to reread that so I can kind of confirm that was my feeling. That's always been my feeling. And I'm so far removed from it. Maybe I can go back and I'll have a different opinion. We'll see. But that's its own situation here. So now I have to try and put everything back together, figure out where I'm going to start at. Yeah, and I have more comic boxes to get through. I just need to, as I wheedle through, I have to kind of put everything together. So I'm going to have certain boxes that are dedicated to certain things. In an ideal world, I'd have an X-Men box, but I think I don't know, guys. This is going to be a bit of a mess. I mean, more so than it already is, it's pretty bad. I mean, I'm surrounded by stacks of comics, which is a good problem to have, I know. I just want to sort this through. I just want to organize my collection. This is all I want to do. Because once I organize it, then I can sort it. Then I can wheedle it out down. But this is the first yeah, this is the first part of it. So I'm going to keep on going through this, recording it for posterity. Yeah. But slowly and surely I will get this organized. Anyway, back to it. Okay, so we have my shelf. Yeah. Now, I have these two, I believe. I'm going to take a quick peek, but I'm pretty sure those ones have absolutely no mutant comics in them. I'm fine. The two on the bottom, I have to go through and sort through. I'm pretty sure there are mutant comics in there. Either those are mutant comics or else those are mutant comics up there. And I know that I'm pretty sure there's some empty boxes there as well, but I just need to confirm. And then there's the bane of my existence and many others. Now, notice how it says Regina pile? Yeah, so for those of you who aren't really used to comics, a Regina pile is much like a TBR pile. It's a to be read. I could go into, basically, it started off with a podcast from the Legion of Substitute Podcasters. They're like a podcast dedicated to the Legion of Superheroes and everything involving them. And they had a guy who called in and he had a specific pile, a to be read pile, and he was from Regina, Saskatchewan, up in Canada. And so everyone started referring it to as the Regina pile. And so here we go. We have the Regina pile. Anyway, that is going to be the bane of my existence, because this has just books that I bought that I haven't had a chance to read yet, or I bought with a purpose of cataloging because I already read them and I really, really loved them, so I wanted to have them again. Yeah. So those are going to be the worst ones. That's going to be like the last one, because I don't know about them. Like, most of them will probably be stuff I either just need to read quickly and put away, or else they're going to be just filed, straight up filed. So I'm not too worried about them. I'm going to do those last, but I do have to investigate the other boxes, and I will do that shortly. But first, I'm just going to take a quick little break. Okay, so here we are. As you can tell, that is not X Comics. That is G through Random Letter. But these are all X Comics. Cable, and then Excalibur through X-Force. I think these are all alphabetized. I'm just going to go through. I also know that I do have, behind me, I do have some cable that needs to get put in with the cable. Cable. And so I'm not going to do too much with this box, because most of it's all here. I'm just going to be adding in what I have from the other box into this one, because I have only 2 or 3 cable comics that are going to go in here. And then I'm going to check up top in the Regina pile. So that's what we're doing next. Okay, so I've managed to get all of the comics. Well, they're sorted. They're sort of sorted. They're sort of sorted. Kind of sort of sorted. I have them generally in groups of boxes, which means now I can, next step is to order them by number. And it's really making me sad, because I was positive I had, looks like I'm missing a bunch of comics, which is really, really sad for me. I had like a whole bunch of really of older X-Men comics, and they're gone now. We won't talk about it. Just things I'm gonna be sad about, and whatever. Old me would have been really hysterical, and I have been hysterical when I've lost comics in the past. But that's neither here nor there. I have a bunch of sorting to do, and so I'm going to be going by number. And that's when I'm going to start doing my reviews on comics. Yes, comics. Going through them and remembering as I first read them, and then also making comments on them now, because I'm positive the way I felt about them at the time is different the way I feel about them now, considering a lot of the comics I read I was reading as a teenager. So angsty teenager, very dramatic. And yeah, and I also know that back in the day there's a lot of, how do you put it, comics having a lot of purple prose, like just over the top dramatic readings, which is not the same as it is now. I'm not seeing that same kind of over the top speech, and you could read past it because that was just the way comics were back then. So it'll be interesting to read, and I'll take you along on this journey. Once I have like the comics together, I will let you know, and I'll like I'll set up everything as it goes with what sections I'm reading and whatnot, like spaces and what they are about, because I'm gonna read through them and then I'll let you know from there. Anyway, thank you for taking this journey with me, and we'll talk again soon. Like I said, the next videos in this series, they'll be having the similar thumbnail and intro, and that's kind of how you know it's gonna be different from my other updates. If you watch my other stuff, which is about my progress for my editing for novels, because I'm a variety channel now. Anyway, I will talk to you all again soon, and yeah, I'll let you know once I start my delving into X-Men. Okay, have a good night.